This is a Seiko dive watch. It's nicknamed the Seiko Turtle on account of the case design. These are a must-have for any Seiko collector. However, this one is running really slow, despite going to an approved Seiko service centre for repair. And in this video, I'm going to attempt to fix what Seiko can't. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and yes, you heard it right. Seiko could not repair this watch, and in actual fact they returned it to its owner John, running worse than it was before he sent it in. So more on that a little bit later. I think the first thing we should do is take the watch, put it on the Timegrapher and see what's going on. So let's go over to the bench. So here is the Turtle, and we're going to get to know this watch very well, I think, in this video. And just to give you a brief idea, right? This has been on a watch winder now for 3-4 days. This is the time now. It is 26 minutes past 10. That's PM. So we are an hour and 10 minutes slow, which is just absolutely incredible. Especially when I tell you that the owner says that the Seiko repair shop actually put a new mainspring in this. I mean, seriously. Anyway, again, more on the story a little bit later. You may be drawn to the Pogue, and quite rightly so. What an epic watch. That one, it's not mine, it's a friend of mine, and it's the repair from hell. Still haven't been able to get it going. Lift angle on these, 54.5 for the 6309 movement. So let's just stick it in, dial up, and see what my reaction is going to be. Yeah, well, that is a reaction. Look at the state of that. I mean, seriously, how the heck can that come out of a service centre? And I'm not kidding you. You know, the guy has basically given me the links of where he's used it, and the money he's paid, which is frightening. It's nearly $300 to get this to this state. That is incredible. I mean, that's hairspring, surely. Well, no, I don't think it is hairspring because it's running slow, isn't it, of course? Oh, my God. So we're going to hopefully turn the snowstorm into a nice straight line in this video. I'm going to quickly put dial down, see if we get any kind of anything that resembles a trace. What on earth have these people done to this watch? I mean, that we've got, I mean, there's no way it's had a mainspring. No way. Not with 129 amplitude. The beat error is abysmal. So someone's maybe messed around with the hairspring or the regulation and got it completely wrong. It's now saying it's minus 12 seconds, but let's shut up. Let's get the back off. Let's have a look. Look, the amplitude's changed again, so it doesn't know what it's doing. This is going to be fun. Seiko, my favourite brand. And yeah, no problem. We're going to fix this. Well, here we are on the microscope and looking for evidence that it's been serviced, to be quite honest. And well, I mean, there's a fibre or something there, but then that could have just floated in. Give it the benefit of the doubt. What I don't like is the scratch. As you can see, this screw here is all marred. There's like a slip mark here. It's then hit that, the ratchet wheel at the same time. Right, none of this is staged, none of this is fixed. This is just my observation straight away. I've never seen a little plastic or nylon thing in there at all, ever. That's a bit odd. So the other screws, they do look slightly marred. This one does as well. So does the balance cock one. So it's definitely been taken apart. But then has it been taken apart in all of its life? Just looking at the case back, and there's no service marked. So I think I can see a problem straight away, but I'll come on to that in just a moment. First of all, just looking at the jewel here. So if this is dating, it's either 1977 or 1987. I can't decide which. If it had not been serviced at all, generally that centre jewel there you can see on Seikos will be pretty gunked up and looking a lot worse than it is. A definitive proof will be to remove the jewel to see if there's any fresh oil on the other side, which is something we'll do shortly. I'm just going to get the microscope a little bit closer. So again, yeah, that looks clean or cleanish to me. What I'm interested in is the hairspring down there. Can I get the light onto it? There. Right. Let's try and educate. So we have here, this is called the terminal curve. And that's how the regulator works on these. And there's something not quite right about it. It looks kind of okay here. But then here, down the bottom, it almost looks like it's sticking up, doesn't it? That to me, it looks like it's coming around and then it goes up and it's sort of overlapping those. But generally when something like that is happening, my limited experience at least would tell you that the watch would run fast, because then you're shortening the spring. And this is running slow. So the only way to tell again would be to remove that. And I think we will. So let me set everything up and let's just strip this watch down, but be very careful and have a look along the way. I want to see at least evidence of a service, which in theory I think I can, because then at least he's paid money for something and they haven't just said, yeah, we've done it, we've not. And maybe this, again, benefit of the doubt, maybe this is just a problem in transport. But then maybe not, because he did say that they said they couldn't improve it. So, right, let's get the movement holders out, the big camera, and change direction. Hi guys, sorry, just another quick advert. Why not? I've got your attention. So, you might notice I'm wearing a different t-shirt today. This is my Dive Watch t-shirt, and it's coming to a Shopify store near you very, very soon. I'll have a link down in the description for that, and when it goes live you'll be able to go on there. You'll be able to buy all kinds of t-shirts that I've created, been spending a long time doing this, but also I'm going to be selling some vintage watches that I've been restoring and servicing, and also maybe some of the new watches that I've actually reviewed as well. It's a way for you guys to help me and help the channel, but equally get something in return. So be sure to click the link in the description, and if it's not live you can just put your email in there and have a notification when I do make it live. Okay, thanks very much for that, appreciate it. Let's get back to the video. Okay, so I'm going to slowly but surely strip the movement now. I've got to get out the case, but just wanted to draw your attention first of all to the gasket. So this, if I can get hold of it, is a very fresh gasket. I've done a few of these turtles in the past with sketchy service history, should we say, and they've never been that soft and supple. They're normally rock hard, to be honest with you. So that's a good sign that perhaps somebody has tried to service it. Right, before I strip it down, just wanted to say that Seiko Turtles, I've done a few of these in my time, and they're usually full of aftermarket dials, hands, bezels, that sort of thing, because they're a very well-loved watch, very desirable as well, so therefore things get replaced, and I haven't got a problem with that at all. But this one, I'm pretty sure, is all original. That bezel insert to me looks original. Correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the pre-manufactured ones have a sort of a one with a sort of tick at the top. And yeah, just has all the hallmarks of being original. And then when we look at the dial, so dials are often replaced, and this one looks exceptionally clean. Usually the lume might sort of go a yellowish colour, but this, I think, again, is original. And the telltale sign is if I turn it over. So we have 76. And memory serves me right, that is also something to do with the year of the manufacture of the dial. So if, and I'm sketchy now, if it was 76, then this does make the case back a 1977 and not a 1987, which makes it quite an early one because they came out in 1976. So yes, this, well, is sweet. Anyway, I'll stop yapping. Let's crack on, find out what the problem is in the movement. Okay, let's see if I can just get the jewel. And unfortunately, it's coming away with its setting, the Chaton, so I will put that in some Rodico. And there it is, guys. That is the smoking gun. Look at that. So telltale sign was that the top jewel did not separate from the bottom using my sticky pen, because if it had all been cleaned, normally they come straight apart. You can see, sorry about the glint, but that's the only way I can kind of show it you, so I can get it into focus. That jewel has got lots of dried oil. You can see the old circle where it used to be. There is absolutely no way on God's green earth that anybody has serviced this or has serviced this properly. How disgusting is that? If I find out this hasn't got a mainspring in it as well, then, well, we're toast. I will put this watch right. It came in as a paid job. John, you will be watching this. You ain't paying for this. I'm going to remedy it for you free of charge, mate. Okay, right. Let's get the balance off and see if we can actually spot some of the problems. Okay, balance is off. And the hairspring, well, it doesn't look too bad, to be honest with you. This bit that I was concerned with seems okay. The coils look a bit tighter over here, and maybe it's taken a small knock. I've already looked at the top pivot here, and that's fine. I need to put it back on the movement, really, to look at the bottom pivot. I think for now, we'll just keep investigating as I strip the watch down. So that's interesting. You have those two screws and this screw. This screw is a different screw. It's flat topped. So yeah, somebody has been in. We know that because of the marred screws anyway. So either a cowboy or whatever, they've lost a screw here and replaced it. I mean, okay, that's fair enough. But then replace it with the right Seiko screw. So for those who don't know, this is called the automatic works. That's what transfers the rotor power and winds up the spring. And a little bit of assembly there, which we'll take apart shortly. So I wanted to get to this point because I can let down the power in the mainspring safely before then checking how well it is running. Ah, that's interesting. Can you see the oil? Look there. Zoom in. Now, I find that quite incredible. I have never seen a pallet fork oiled before. And in actual fact, God, am I seeing an oil slick? Is that what's causing the problems? Well, that looks like a scratch. Okay. For a moment, well, actually, is that a hair as well? It is, isn't it? No, it's a scratch. Okay, beg your pardon. Right, so we have an oiled pallet fork, which is drenched in oil. Look at the setting down there as well. That's terrible. You never oil those. Never oil them. And the reason being is that eventually the oil will possibly go a little bit sticky. And this thing is very, very sensitive, should we say. So if it starts sticking, that's the first thing it's going to really play up with the running of the watch, and that is possibly the main cause of the poor running here. Wow. Honestly, I've serviced hundreds and hundreds of watches. I've never seen that before, ever. What I wanted to demonstrate now was just to put some power in the movement and see how the train was running, because I wanted to see if that was free, because that would be a good indication of why it'd be running slow. And to do that, we'll just put some power in. And you can see that the train is spinning fairly freely. I'm looking to see if there's any inconsistencies, anything slowing down. It isn't whizzing. It's not making the whizzing noise, which it would normally do. So I do wonder if all the pivots have been oiled. Okay. I think from here on in, we kind of know that it's just had a rough time somewhere. I'm going to strip the whole thing down. If I see things along the way, then obviously I'll point them out. Oil. See it on the plate? Shouldn't be there. Down here, in the keyless, see that's just a puddle of oil. I didn't even do that when I first started out and didn't know what I was doing. You know, my motto was, if you can see the oil, it's too much. And here, well, that's terrible. Here we go again, look. Unnecessarily oil all over the place. All that's doing, causing a bit of drag. And I guess preserving the parts from rust. Here we go with the plastic parts. So the intermediate wheel's got 2 gears on it, look. All made out of plastic. Quite a common failure point. Calendar Works seizes up for whatever reason, and you lose this bit here, and the teeth on the other one that I've just took off. Even oil on the plastic. I mean, that is really unnecessary, isn't it? Am I going to find oil underneath? No, I'm not. Okay. Setting over. Again, drenched. I mean, this is high friction area, so you do want oil, but to me, that's excessive. And you'll see how much I use on the rebuild later on. And I love these integrated springs as well. There's no shepherd's crooks on Seikos, or very rarely, not in the 70s models anyway. Just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit safer, especially if you're starting out these 6309 movements. I mean, without exaggeration, I've probably done 50 odd. I own most of them. And they're great. Harps are easy to find. Good to work on. Bit of fun. And there's the cannon pinion. So over on the jewel, dial side is done. Leave the jewel in for now. Let's flip it over. Okay, this is quite hard to film, so I'm trying to hold the movement. Typically, you would want to check end shake or side shake, which is just how much movement is in the wheels. They should all have a little bit of movement, but not excessive. And that's side to side movement, which in this case there's none. And I can't really do it easily on film to get hold of that. You can just see it there. That feels fine, and it is a feel thing. You just have to get used to it. Once you've grabbed a wheel that you know is wrong, you know what I'm talking about. You just got too much movement. So wheels like this, you're going to get a fair bit of play in this anyways. This is the one. I'm trying to think. This is the one that has the second hand in it, if I'm not mistaken. And they use these bushed bearings or jewels here, and they're susceptible to wear. So if you're going to see anything wobble about, it's because it's metal on metal. At a glance, they look okay. I will check them off camera a bit more, but let's just strip the rest of the watch down. And another thing to look at on Seikos particularly, they always have these metal bearings again for the barrel arbor, and you want to see if there's any wobble. I tend to just put a bit of pegwood in and see how much play there is. There is a little bit of play. Don't feel that's that excessive. Another telltale would be wear around here. They'd be down to the brass because it's sort of oscillating, I suppose, and the ratchet wheel on the top will wear in places. So all's good. Again, this movement, you know, or this whole watch in general is fantastic condition. And I can see it glistening again. Unfortunately, it's too reflective there. See? There. I can't get over the oil on that. What's the point of having oil on a wheel there, eh? This is another thing I wanted to say with these. See, it's got 3 holes. It's the 3rd wheel. The 4th wheel, which is the one we've just removed, 4 holes. Just one of those nuances that Seiko have, which is fantastic. I think it only is seen on the 6.3 series. Oil, more oil. Yeah, where it needs oil, down here, none. Just old grime. Smidge more oil here as well, in a useless place. Let's angle it again, look at that. So on a bridge plate, and you put all that oil underneath it. I've got a question. You know, I class myself as like, I don't know, a hobbyist. Some people say I'm an amateur. Maybe I am. I'm nowhere near a professional. In theory, this has been done by a blooming professional. But as my watchmaker friend says, actually, he says, what is a professional watchmaker? He's just somebody that makes a living out of fixing watches. So if I made a living out of this, I'd be a professional without certification. Okay, that's the movement stripped down. I think it's pretty conclusive that whoever's messed with it has hacked with it. I'm going to investigate the last part of the puzzle, which was, has it had a new mainspring? Okay, mainspring barrel. Excuse my fingers. They look terrible, I know. It really triggers some of you as well. I'm sorry, this isn't very easy to film either, because I can tell you why. There's no way on earth that's a new mainspring in there. How do I know? Because the lid doesn't come off very easily. I've got to be a bit careful because I don't want to release the coils. Just excuse me. Okay, right. Here goes. Ta-da! Well, it's had some oil. Like everything in this watch, it's had some oil. The jury's out. You wouldn't need to oil it that excessively at all. It's like another hobbyist has done this, honestly. Not professional. You just wouldn't put oil in like that. Plus, if it was clean oil, it wouldn't be dirty like that. So no, as far as I'm concerned, it was £200 for $200 for the service, and then $100 to put a mainspring in it, which is daylight robbery. Anyway, you probably buy a mainspring for about $20 and the skill to put it in. Nah, not buying it at all. Okay, right, I've got some cleaning to do. Oh, I'll tell you what we need to show you very quickly, and that's the automatic works. Very simple on this. Actually, plastic again. Oh, I know, again, that's going to trigger a few of you. And look, get it in the right light. Why not? Let's put some oil on it as well. So these just unhook. There we go. Anyone think I've done this movement before? Just use the dazzle. You just take it out like that. So the whole watch is now stripped down. And before it even goes in the cleaning machine, I'm going to have a pre-clean because I don't want that oil polluting my very expensive cleaning fluids. So, okay, to have a bit of a cleaning, you can see that, and then we'll rebuild it and get this thing running as sweet as a nut. See you on the other side of the cleaning. Okay, welcome back, and look at the horror story that's going on inside the mainspring barrel. Looks like someone's tried to hand wind a spring possibly and made a real pig's ear of it, and there's a lot of wear everywhere. But I'm going to persevere. We'll put some braking grease, proper oil this time, well, grease. You just need 4 spots like that, you know, in opposite corners, so to speak. And that's sufficient enough to then wind the spring in. And there we go, all nice and clean. And here you might notice there's 4 drops of grease on the spring itself. And that's not to oil the spring. That's actually to oil the barrel lid, because there's wear on that lid that you saw. There we go. And that is basically the spring wearing on it. So lubricate it, and that prevents it. Guys, hope you're enjoying the video. And if you are, then please hit the like button. It's just in the bottom corner down here. It costs you nothing but a couple of seconds, and it makes all the difference to us creators, because that's what drives the algorithm. So if you're enjoying this video, enjoy what I do, hit the like button. Really appreciate it. Okay, back to the video. Right, watch is out of the cleaner, and as I wash it with the balance on, I think we'll start with the jewel there. I've already put the jewel in on the bottom, So I'll just show you the top one. Okay, just got all the centre of the jewel. Excuse the green mat, it's stained rather than dirty. And have to do it again. Damn it. Take 2. Let's go for take 3. I can normally do these as well. Filming, always a nightmare. And still not. Right, my God, right, forget it. You'll see it going in a minute. Hooray! Finally. What's that, 4 times? My goodness. Right. Let's put it in the movement, quick. There we are. Just putting some D5, thicker lubricant, in the hole here for the barrel. And what is a little alarming is the sheer amount of scratches. So there's a lot of scratches all here, obviously over here as well. And, you know, again, this is a professional outfit. They would not be doing that. And if they did, they'd probably die of embarrassment and subsequently replace the main plate. So it is a bit, well, I'm still pretty disillusioned, to be honest with you, that this has been at the hands of an amateur. And considering I class myself as an amateur, not even an amateur, just a, I don't know, bodger, cowboy. Should have put this in before the centre wheel, the 4th wheel, sorry. But it's no matter. Now we have the dance of the train bridge, which is sometimes a little bit harder on these because you haven't got the jewels for location. So when you're just trying to get the pivots in, the steel ones, it's a bit harder, and you can see here the third wheel hasn't come through. And finally, they're all into place, look. So just the 3 screws. So a little bit about the owner. John, he sent me this watch from America. It was his father's watch, and he remembers his father wearing it for probably about 25 years. He always admired it, and eventually they found it, and it was given to John. And the watch, he thinks, is about 47 years old at that point. And he noticed it was running slow, 2 to 3 minutes a day. And often if he wore it for a long time, it would still stop running after just a few hours. So no power reserve at all. So he figured he best get the watch serviced for its own good, see if he can get it running better. John went online and found SeikoWatches.com. And from there, he managed to find a link to the Seiko Service USA.com, which would then put him in touch with service centres in his local area. Okay, let's put the balance back on now at this stage. Power's in the movement. Hopefully it's going to run a little bit better. And we're off. That looks like it's beating okay. Yeah, great. Let's switch the cameras round, get it on the Timegrapher and see what it's doing. Okay, a bit of a moment of truth. I have a hunch, though, looking at it, that it's absolutely fine. But just to be sure, I brought down Yoda just in case we need to use the force. So again, lift angle 54.5. You see it as I see it. And yeah, that I can work with that right straight away. We have, if you don't know about these sort of things, just wondering how it's coming through on the screen. I'm just looking. So we're now getting parallel lines. They need to be shifted because it's running at 150 seconds a day. Slow beat errors needs to be adjusted too. They're way out. No amplitude as yet, and I'm not surprised. So I'm going to try and nudge the regulator to see, and the stud, try and get it a bit into beat. Thing is, I've not oiled any of the jewels yet. We've only oiled the balance jewels, haven't we? So let's see if I can do this on the fly. I have to move this camera a little bit. Probably gives you a better view, actually. So normally I would try to move the stud first, but because it's running so fast, let's just try and push this. It's very hard to do it looking at a digital camera rather than the actual item, which is possibly asking for suicide. But I want to demonstrate it live if I can. So you should now see the trace. The angle of the trace will start to change as the seconds come down, and straight away the amplitude has come in, look. And I don't like using this piece of pegwood, but there we go. So 217 amplitude on a 70s watch on a Seiko. They normally, people say 200 plus. 217 is pretty good. I'd like to see 230, to be honest with you. And maybe we'll get that after I've oiled it. So I just want to now try and nudge the beat error a bit. And with the beat error, you never know, well, I never know necessarily, which way to go first. So you can see that was a big move. It's made a big difference, and it's gone the wrong way. Although the lines have closed up, did you notice? And it can fool you sometimes, especially on these Wishis, that you think you're in beat and you're absolutely way off. The lines will tell you it's perfect and it's nowhere near. So I've now got to move that back, which at the angle I'm at is going to be quite difficult. Let's see if I can move it a bit like that. I'm so obscured, it's just the way I'm doing it. It's started to tumble now, isn't it? There we go. So that should be pretty much 0. And of course it's now speeded up, hasn't it? So we need to bring it back down again. 0.1, that's good enough. It's that good old game of cat and mouse. And trust me, doing it live on camera is really, really difficult. But I'm going to leave it like that, actually. So once I've oiled it and it's in the case and things like that, I can regulate it properly and in positions as well. But this is certainly giving us a clear indication that the poor running originally was just through really, really bad. I'm not even going to say a service, just bad treatment. Somebody's just wrecked this watch. And at least for John, he's going to get his watch back and it's going to run absolutely spot on. No problem at all. Okay, hope that was useful and educational. I don't show that very often because it is tricky to do. Let's get on, just build the rest of the watch. A little bit of oiling. And of course, won't be oiling the jewel all the way down there. And I'm using, as my oiler, the Bergeon ergonomic oilers. These are quite expensive. They're £20 just for the replacement tip, which you can hardly see in this video. It's kind of like a spaded end. I can't get into that one from the angle I'm at. But it tends to leave the right amount of oil. Or it's more consistent. It's easier to apply. That's a bit more of a perfect shot. That will run down into those. I never like oiling these metal ones. I'm using 9010 and possibly I should be using D5, something a little bit thicker because it's not a proper jewel, is it? So there we go. Just need to flip over, do the other side as well. So on the other side, just going to oil the escape. If I can get to it. I'm using the Link Micro digital microscope for this view, and I'll leave a link for it below. This is a new one they've sent me actually for review. Well, they've just sent it me. I will review it because it's pretty impressive. It's updated from the one I did previously, and it's got some different features. Very useful thing, certainly for recording. Not so good for just staring at the screen and rebuilding movements because I still much prefer using a loop, but that's just my own personal preference. So I've oiled those two. Here is the center wheel, and that's what the cannon pinion sits on. So I like to put a bit of D5. Case in point, that wasn't the easiest thing to fit on this camera. Right, back to the story. So John basically took it to this official Seiko service centre, who charged him $200 to service it, and then when they realised it needed a new mainspring, in inverted commas, they then charged him $300 for the pleasure. And because it was sentimental value, John figured he'd put the money into it. But when he got it back, he noticed it was running slow, maybe 8 to 10 seconds a day slow, and equally the chapter ring was misaligned. And it's easy to do that on these, but it's easy to get it lined up. There's a special tab actually on the dial for location. John took the watch back to get the chapter ring realigned and mentioned about the regulation, and was basically met with what I deem a terrible comment, and that is that they would be reluctant to regulate the watch better because it's an old movement and it's not made anymore, and therefore it's highly unlikely that it could be improved. I mean, seriously, who says that? Honestly, I mean, you've got 100, 200-year-old watches out there that run perfectly well as long as they're clean and well maintained. So it's absolutely rubbish. John took the watch home. Because it's such sentimental value, he ended up putting it 10 minutes a day fast in order to try and tell the time, bless him. Well, John, rest assured, it's now going to tell the time on a regular basis. Trust me, by the time we finish this, you're going to have a good watch back. And that's the least I can do for the trouble that this guy has caused you, because I think it's terrible. I'll take this part off. Should have thought about that, it's been a while. Change movement holders. Just makes this final part a little bit easier. Okay, pretty much the final piece other than the automatic works, the date wheel the day wheel, sorry, you just have to look at where this spring is. You put the wheel on. And you look for that spring and get an old oiler. There we go, just catches. Then you have the C-clip, or the C-ring. It even says here that C-ring upwards. Amount of people I see who miss this point. It has a chamfer on one side and flat on the top there. Most people put the flat down and the chamfer up. The chamfer's there so you can get a lever underneath it to take it off. So if you put it the other way around, it's really difficult to remove without damaging the wheel. And now, I'm demonstrating, I can't pick it up. Get your tweezers. That's it. And then we should have quick set working, as you can see. Perfect. Automatic works. Let's put a bit of D5, a thicker lubricant on there. So these are the magic fingers, the pull levers, and they just sit on like so. Absolutely amazing little invention, this. Basically, it goes on a cam, so it oscillates, and these levers grab this wheel here, and oops, and they sort of ratchet it around, and that is all that it takes to transfer the rotor motion down to the ratchet wheel, ultimately down to the mainspring. And I'm trying to do this whilst looking at the microscope. Which I'm not all that good at. There we go. So the levers have grabbed the wheel. And right at the start of the video, I did say on the bridge that I didn't know what those little nylon loops were. Well, they're actually this cover. Sometimes these are screwed. I forgot that on the 6309, sorry, that they are generally made of plastic. A little bit of D5. Sometimes they don't go down, and I like to just turn the screw a little bit. That's now down properly. And here, for that screw, I've gone in my selection of spare Seiko screws because I'm not putting, well, I'm keeping it original, put it that way. Can't put that screw that somebody else put in there. It'll make me look bad, won't it? So that's the movement complete. Just got to put the dial and hands on, sort out the case, and then test it, make sure it is running right. So I hope you're enjoying this video. So if you are, then please remember, hit the like button. That's all I like to ask. And if more of you did it, promotes my videos. And if you're enjoying them, help me have a bigger reach. Want to hit 100,000 subscribers. That's been my goal, and it's been 7 years, and I'm up to 85, I think. So keep liking, keep subscribing. Thank you. Thought I'd test the water resistance on the case. It is old. I've greased the gasket. I've tried to grease the crown a little bit. It's a screw down crown. We are at 50 bars. It's 50 meters. This is all this meter can really handle. So it's going to push the watch under the water and hope to God the crystal don't break. And then we're going to try and look for any bubbles as I release the pressure, which I'm going to do slowly to start with. So we've got some coming out there, but that could well be just from the bezel. Can't see anything else, anything coming out the back. You know what, 50 meters of pressure. And that watch is good. I mean, it's supposed to be good for 150, but the tester doesn't do it. So it has got some waterproofing, even after all these years, which is great. I think this is the first time I've used this tester on a video as well. It doesn't get a lot of use. I don't do a lot of dive watching, but there we go. I'm pleased with that. Here's the final figures on the Timegrapher after a little bit more regulation, and it's where I wanted it to be, really. 230, 220 amplitude, good beat error, and a good rate, just running slightly faster at 4 seconds a day. Positionally, it's pretty decent, 2 slight variations, but well within tolerance, I would have thought. So that's going to serve John quite well. And we'll end the video where we started, albeit the watch is now keeping good time, as it will when it gets back to John and on his wrist. He will be now never late for another appointment and be able to create new memories as a result. As for the authorised Seiko Service Centre, well, shame on them. There's nothing authorised or service or centre in what they've done to this. I think they farmed it out to somebody who hadn't got a clue what to do. But at least we've righted that wrong, and trust me, it's not for the first time. I've already done a Seiko on this channel that a watchmaker couldn't repair before, and I've heard horror stories of Seiko service centres doing this to vintage watches, also on the online communities. So don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new, and leave comments below. I do read every single one, and I try to reply to as many as I can. Stay tuned for my new website, time-tees.com. Link will be below. There'll be some watches up on there soon, and the t-shirts. I'll be going live soon, and when I do, I'll post a video on that so that you can all go and have a look. Helps you, helps me. Everybody's going to be a winner. So thanks for watching, and if you want to stay around, click one of these links in one of the corners and you can check out some of my other quite popular Seiko videos that you might just enjoy. So thanks for watching, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye for now.